Okay, so, like, ever been in a meeting and felt like, man, I wish I had more say? Well, get ready, because today we're diving deep into the world of shareholder activism.
Yeah, think of it like, having a voice, but with a megaphone, and in the corporate world.
All right, so shareholder activism. It's when shareholders try to influence uh, a company's decisions.
Yeah.
But uh, what's the deal? Why do they do it?
Well, there's this whole spectrum of motivations. I mean, obviously, maximizing shareholder value is a big one,
Right, so they're
right?
making that money.
Exactly. But it's not always just about the bottom line. Some activists, they're really driven by um, pushing for ethical practices.
Like making the company do good.
Yeah, you got it. Could be environmental sustainability, fair labor practices, even specific social causes.
So it's not just about profits, it's about principles too. Interesting.
Absolutely. Like you might have activists who are all about a company's carbon footprint,
Yeah.
pushing for green policies. Or maybe they're focused on board diversity, making sure leadership is more inclusive.
Wow, so they really can make a difference. But how do they actually, you know, get their way? What are their tactics?
Well, there's a whole playbook. They can start by filing shareholder proposals.
Ah, so like formally suggesting stuff.
Right. And
You know,
those can be binding or non-binding. Binding ones, if they get enough votes, basically force the company to do something.
right.
Non-binding, well, more like strong suggestions.
Okay, so like a mini vote within the company.
You got it. And if those proposals don't cut it, activists might go public, launch campaigns, get the media riled up, put some serious pressure on the company.
Whoa, turning up the heat.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they even go legal, lawsuits and stuff, or even try to sway a proxy contest.
A proxy contest, what's that all about?
So it's kind of like imagine a mini election within the company, right?
Okay.
And the activists, they're trying to get other shareholders to vote their way on, like, big decisions, maybe replacing board members, even pushing for new leadership.
Wow, so it can get pretty intense.
Yeah.
So what kind of things are these activists like really focused on? What gets them fired up?
Well, a lot of times you'll see them targeting executive compensation.
Ah, the big CEO salaries.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it too much? Is it tied to performance? That kind of stuff. They also often go after the board's composition, like, is it diverse enough? Do they have the right expertise? Are they truly independent from management?
Yeah, I remember reading about this one activist campaign that like pushed for more diversity on a tech company's board, and it totally worked.
Exactly. It can be super effective. And sometimes they even go after the company's whole strategy, like telling them to get rid of certain assets or even blocking a merger or acquisition they think is a bad idea.
So they can really shake things up. But hold on, who are these activists? Are we talking like, everyday investors?
Not always. I mean, anyone who owns stock can technically be an activist, right? But usually it's the big players, the heavy hitters, who are leading the charge. Institutional investors like pension funds, mutual funds, hedge funds. And then you got these specialized activist firms. They've got the resources, they've got the experience, to really fight these corporate battles.
Yeah, I've heard of guys like Carl Icahn, he's known for shaking things up. But does all this activism actually work? Does it really make a difference, or is it just a lot of noise?
Oh, it can definitely make a difference. Like, remember the case of, I think it was Insuit company name. They were facing this massive pressure from activists to, get their act together on environmental stuff. And it actually led to them completely revamping their whole sustainability strategy.
Wow, so activism can actually make companies more responsible.
For sure. It can be a real force for good. But of course, it's not always a fairy tale ending. There are definitely some controversies.
Yeah, I bet.
Some folks, they criticize activism for being, disruptive. They say it's too focused on short-term wins and that it could hurt the company in the long run.
Ah, so it's kind of like, are they sacrificing the future for a quick buck today?
Exactly. It's a balancing act. Got to weigh the potential good against the potential bad.
So I guess the big question is shareholder activism ultimately a good thing or a bad thing?
Honestly, it's complicated. It's not black and white. There are valid arguments on both sides. It can hold companies accountable, push for positive change, but it can also be, disruptive. And sometimes it might prioritize the interests of a few over the long-term value for everyone.
That's a really good point. So it's definitely something for you, the listener, to think about. When you're looking at a company, making investment decisions, consider this. Does shareholder activism empower everyone, or does it just give too much power to a few?
It's a constantly evolving world, this whole activism thing. Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Well, Well, that's our deep dive into the world of shareholder activism. It's complex, it's controversial, but it's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep those questions coming and keep thinking critically.
See ya.